Everybody to the daily space weather. I'm your host smAsho, and we're starting things out looking at the local yellow dwarf and 304 angstroms. Filaments all around the limbs, especially in the northeast. A couple active regions there, both cycle 25. One up a little north of the equator and one south of the equator. And by the way, we are streaming live to twitch.tv/smAsho, so thanks everybody who tunes in over there. And we're going to come back to HelioViewer in a minute. First, we're going to take a look at the sun in 94 angstroms. We saw a little bit of minor flaring happening yesterday, and this is, by the way, a 48-hour SDO video, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And let's head back to HelioViewer. It's not done processing yet. Anyway, let's take a look at the fields real quick. And you can see that is a cycle 25 plage. Oh, I forgot. I can't draw. Anyway, there's that active region and the fields. Here's 304 angstroms. And here's a nice fade, showing you ionized iron and ionized helium. And we'll leave that in the middle, perhaps later to be used for the thumbnail. KP index is at 2. 10.7 centimeter radial flux is still at 70, as it was yesterday. No real surprises there. Here's where objects are in the solar system right now. And let me just check the chat. Here's where things will be in a week. And there's going to be a Venus-Mercury conjunction. And let's talk about star charts. Today's featured star is Altair. If you're not familiar with the summer triangle, it consists of Altair, Deneb, and Vega. So there's the summer triangle, a feature of northern hemisphere summer. X-ray flux is pretty flatlined here. Again, we saw a small flare yesterday, not even big enough to reach B class. But we like to see solar activity, as solar minima are not good for mankind. Proton flux is flatlined, no surprise there. And let's look at the real-time solar wind. We see a phi angle shifting as I do show prep. Solar wind density on the rise, currently at 6.75 protons per cubic centimeter. Top pane with the BTBZ is fairly uninteresting, and we see the solar wind speed ramping down over the past 24, now around 350 kilometers a second. And we get to talk cosmology once again, some more interesting articles. We're always delighted to see them. And we're going to make a short cosmology segment because, again, some good stuff about magnetic fields and about giant rotating disk galaxies. Now, the Earth's geomagnetic field is not understood, but first let's talk about the Wolf disk. Somewhere around 7 billion light years away, this particular area is interesting in its rotational properties. So the Wolf disk discovered by ALMA in 2017. The Wolf disk belongs to normal population of galaxies present at early times, allegedly. So for some reason, we have all this organization happening here in this allegedly 7 billion year old galaxy. I won't get into the age of the universe or the Big Bang or whether or not I believe in it. But I'll scroll the article for you. This way you can read it without ever having to go to SciTech Daily, but that's where I picked it up from. Or was this phys.org? I can't remember. I think it's SciTech Daily. SciTech Daily is a publication I like a little better than phys.org. It's not quite as comprehensive. That's an artist's rendition, by the way. Anyway, it's Galaxy DLA0817G, nicknamed the Wolf Galaxy after the late astronomer Arthur M. Wolf. Again, if you want to read the story, check it out at scitechdaily.com. And just let me scroll the article here, just in case you'd like to read it without having to go anyplace besides our video. Let me take a sip of coffee. Shout out to Terrence. How is it going, Mr. Leonard? When are you coming to the Lehigh Valley to do some bike riding? Anyway, looking at radio images of the Wolf Galaxy is a good time. You should try it. Next, we're talking about the Next Generation Space Telescope, named for Mother of Hubble. Mother Hubble, not to be confused with Mother Hubbard. So a lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. We're not going to talk about the chiral puzzle of life. Cosmic rays may have left indelible imprint on early life. Here's a newsflash for you, folks. Cosmic rays leave an imprint on all life constantly. Now, something pretty unsettling has happened on the eve of the historic SpaceX launch. I don't know if you're aware. Doug Lavero, NASA human spaceflight chief, has resigned only about 10 days before this mission goes off. And that's very unsettling. And I would not be thrilled to hear this if I was one of the astronauts. This guy worked in this field for about 40 years and decided to resign just before the historic May 27th private operation SpaceX to head to the International Space Station. So not exactly what you really want to hear. And I don't think there's any indication as to why he resigned. So maybe he was just ready to retire and not exactly sure. Maybe he was tired of social distancing and wearing masks. What say you? I won't play that video, but this one is on space.com. Let's talk about the Earth's magnetic field. Are you familiar with the SWARM mission? Well, the SWARM mission isn't really providing a lot of public data, and a lot of people are complaining about it, suggesting that the truth is being obfuscated. I'm not so sure about that, but here's an interesting little clip which shows you the South Atlantic anomaly. You can see this goes back to 2014, and you can see the way we get a second anomaly has formed off of the west coast of South Africa there. So some interesting data from SWARM. And here's another interesting one too. This is going to show you places where there are radiation strikes. So I'll let this one play through also. And you can see most of them are coming into South America. And the South Atlantic anomaly is a weak spot in the Earth's magnetic field. And you can see in this animation, you can see the Siberian North Pole, the Canadian North Pole. You can see the South Pole, how it's out here in the Indian Ocean somewhere. And anyway, let me read you a quote from the article after I let this play through, as it's, shall we say, interesting and supports my type of hypotheses involving how Earth's magnetic dynamo is generated. Come on, computer, you can do it. There we go. So, I think you may find this interesting. Just bear with me a minute. Earth's magnetic field is often visualized as a powerful dipolar bar magnet at the center of the planet, tilted around 11 degrees. And if you think that the Earth's magnetic field is anything like a bar magnet, I don't know what to tell you. But there's no indication that there's anything like a bar magnet inside of a star or a planet, as that's not how anything works in reality. The growth of the South Atlantic anomaly indicates that the processes involved in generating the field are far more complex. Well, who would have guessed it? Simple dipolar models are unable to account for the recent development of the second minimum. Yeah. Earth's magnetic field is not generated by liquid iron, as liquid iron can't even be a magnet. Speaking of magnets, let's look at the magnetosphere. No malarkey here. Here's 4 hours of magnetosphere data. And we see most of the pressure here in the magnetotail region on the right side, which is the night side, the less light side, otherwise known as the dark side of the planet. The same as the light side, only darker. And everything's fairly steady here as we see a fairly steady solar wind, with some phi angle shifts at the end which didn't do anything magnetically. And let's get a little closer to the ground and look at ground magnetic perturbations. And you can see the locations of those poles that we just showed you with our epic pen. Nothing too surprising there. And at least we don't see the South Pole split in two like we do the North. There's the ghost magnetometer data. And this right here is the Earth passing back into the North Pole oriented polarity current sheet. We'll show you it on the next slide. But there's the data from the past, I don't know, what is it, 36 hours? So here's the Gong 2 data. It's the top view ecliptic plane field plot, as if you're looking at the sun from the pole. For your new viewers out there, this is stereo A, this is stereo B. This data is derived from 51 ground-based magnetometers, as well as one on each stereo A and B. So you can see we've just crossed into the North Pole-oriented current sheet shown here in green again. And there's some activity, so that's a good thing, folks. No surprises if the 10.7 centimeter radio flux gets even higher here, as we see two significant plages, even though no sunspots. And you can see the B field being pulled down in this area a little bit. The B field is not from France, but if it was in France, it may pull down your pants. So yeah, there's the line of sight field plot, and you can see the way those plages are affecting the B field. And let's move on. Electron flux ultra low. Check out the relativistic electrons here, the greater than 2 mega electron volt at cratered levels, still not having recovered from those extreme lows. And it looks like they might on the next update there from Solon.info. As we see a small uptrend here, but very slight. And again, where have all the electrons gone? And where do the electrons come from, folks? That's one of the most pressing questions in cosmology. And guess who can't answer it? Mainstream astronomers? Electric universe people? Sorry. Dr. Robitaille can explain it, and so can I. But I won't, because it's a daily space weather. So here's the ionosphere map. The last slide was the total electron content forecast. And this data is provided by Government of Australia Bureau of Meteorology. And we see extreme discharging on the nighttime side there, shown in those giant red blobs, where the F2 layer evaporates and becomes an F layer. Not good for radio propagation, but not bad for satellite charge-ups. So anyway, here's the latest image. Ionosphere looking fairly normal here, besides that extreme discharge at nighttime, and that's what happens when all the magnetohydrodynamic pressure is in the magnetotail region, where it's usually in the bow shock region, which would be over here where the sun is shining. And next, let's look at earthquakes. And we're only going to report on relevant ones or weirdo ones. Looks like nothing over a 6 magnitude for the past 24. We'll report on any deep quakes. There's a 5.0 at the Philippines, nearly at 100 kilometers. 92.8 kilometers is pretty deep. What say you? Lots of aftershocks in Nevada going on and on and on. And here's a 4.9 at the Philippines. That 4.9 magnitude quake at 182.6 kilometers. Looks like Mary called it yesterday, forecasting a deep quake event. So there you go, 4.7 at Chile, 98.8 kilometers depth on that one. Tons of aftershocks in Nevada, populating the heck out of the list. I think this is the largest of the past 24, or among them. And that is not great for Vanuatu, as it's a 5.3 magnitude at nearly 180 kilometers depth. And I would say if you're in an earthquake-prone zone, places like this, please have an earthquake plan, as those two areas have been seeing deep quake after deep quake, and we really still are in a 7 magnitude earthquake drought, folks. I don't even know when the last 7 magnitude plus quake was, as I'm not a huge seismic enthusiast. I just try to look at all the variables that are relevant to geophysics. Here's a very deep quake at Fiji, the deep quake capital of the world. It's a 5.1 at over 500 kilometers depth. If that one happened at the surface, that would be about a 6.5. And just scrolling up the list, next looking at volcanoes here on volcanodiscovery.com. Mount Abiko back on the list, flight level 12,000 there. Sakurajima back on the list, flight level 9,000 there. Dukono exploding, flight level 6,000. Mount Yasur produces 7,000 foot ash plume. Popocatépetl exploding down there in central Mexico, right near Mexico City. Revenador exploding, 16,000 foot ash plume there. And continuous emissions of whatever LGT is. I don't know what LGT is. Volcanic ash and gases at Sabancaya. Please do not pole vault the caldera. And what are you doing when you're in lockdown? Are you like going, for you can, like me? Or like, what are you up to? Leave us a comment, let us know. One of the things you may like to do is drive around and find out what's in trucks. One of my hobbies, as I like to know what's in the trucks, that are especially ones that are driving like complete fools on the highway. So one of the ways you can do that is you can type in UN/UA hazmat and the number on the hazmat placard, and that will give you the contents of the truck. It could be useful. I recommend downloading the PDF that includes all of this information. Yesterday I saw a truckload of hydrogen peroxide, and I wondered what it would be like to bathe in a tub of hydrogen peroxide. You think it would be fun? I don't know. Let's talk about house centipedes. I saved one this morning. It was about to go down the drain in the shower, so I dipped a towel into the shower, and I saved it. It was a teenager. It wasn't one of those like 2 or 3 inch long ones. It was like about an inch long. And sure enough, he pulled through. Bob Vila agrees with us. Should you really kill house centipedes? The answer is nope. They can't bite you. But what they can do is kill pests in your house. Now, they're afraid of light, and they are a beneficial insect in that what's going on in your house is biological warfare. Don't spray poisons in your house, folks. Don't use pesticides. It's a stupid idea. Things like spiders and house centipedes should be safely caught and relocated outside. I know they're pretty quick, but they have one of the most potent venoms of any animal in the whole world, and their mouth parts are incapable of piercing human skin. So they can't really bite you. They are very poisonous. They are an all-natural form of pest control. They eat all kinds of bugs. I've seen one eating an earwig once. They eat flies, ants, moths, silverfish, spiders, and cockroaches. So relocate your house centipedes outside and don't crush them. And if you're wondering how they relate, they are actually centipedes. And centipedes are related to very, very ancient forms of life, more closely related to an earthworm than an insect, the house centipede. Looks like people are having fun in Moscow, as this apparent Satanist. I like her fang mask, although she looks like an idiot wearing a mask, just like everybody else. Possibly a COVID-idiot. Not sure if she's required to wear one or not, as everybody freaks out about highly indebted zombie companies. Oh my gosh. Check it out. CNBC picking up an article about zombie companies, which I've been talking about, namely in the form of Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter. Zombie companies. They should just refine their business models and just become legal referral services, as they can't get out of the way of their own liability, much like the CDC. And I don't know how I even got on that story. I didn't even mean to open that up. So anyway, I don't know if you're aware of the current state of affairs over at the CDC, but they are incompetent bureaucrats salaried with your tax dollars. See, in government, when you make fatal mistakes, you're promoted. Whoever is responsible for this has got a bright future as an administrator, front office executive, or perhaps a cabinet secretary. The CDC claims disease control. The CDC, College of Dumb Codgers. Turns out coronavirus may not spread as easily by touching surfaces or objects. The CD now says, but it still may be possible. So we've picked up this article this is from USA Today, a relatively leftist news source. If you want to read all about it, head to smAshomash.com/forum, click on the free for all forum, and the coronavirus section is in there. We've also got forums about cosmology, Earth and geophysics, and pardon my inability to update very much stuff on the forum lately, because I am way too overworked and underpaid to worry about it. So another thing you can do on lockdown is sign our petition to remove Tom Wolf from office. Now, it is his last term, and we would like to make his last term end a little bit early, along with his utterly unqualified staff consisting of people like former NCAA linebacker Dr. Rachel Levine. And if you're wondering why Dr. Rachel Levine stopped being a linebacker, it's because Dr. Rachel Levine, then Richard Levine, was uneasy with tackling other players because they could get hurt. So please share the petition to fix our Commonwealth and get rid of this overreaching, ignorant, ineffective bureaucrat and his staff, since he offers no guidance, solutions, effective measures, end date for lockdowns and mask wearing, or hope. We hope that he's gone ASAP. So you can find that on all kinds of different things. And oh, check it out, folks. It's No Malarkey Joe. And I've been making sure that my hair smells fantastic. Now, I'm in Joe's home state of Pennsylvania, and the reason that I'm using so much Garnier Fructis conditioner is because maybe I can get a photo op with Joe, and then he could stand real close behind me and sniff my hair and, ooh yeah, Orange Man bad, No Malarkey is good. Because not only is there no malarkey, there's also no bullpucky, no poppycock, and there's no bullpucky, poppycock, and there's not even 1 ounce of hogwash associated with Joe Biden. Joe Biden for president because Orange Man bad. Thanks everybody who watches the content on YouTube. Please share with your friends, share with your foes. If you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Now, yesterday we put up a video about terms defined, and it's only on BitChute. We'll put it on YouTube eventually. All right, and thanks. But here's a video about HIPAA. It's on bitchute.com/smAshomash. And here's a clip, I think. Thanks, BitChute. Wow. Here's a clip, I think. 322 views over there already. All right, and thanks for checking out another edition of Terms Defined. Anyway, if you want to hear all about the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, head over to bitchute.com/mashomash. It's an exclusive early release as of now. We're also on Twitter. I don't know if you're aware. Twitter.com/smashomash. Facebook.com/smashomash. Minds.com/smashomash. The future of social media, where you won't be shadow banned, you won't be censored, and maybe stuff will actually load. And you'll wonder what is going on. Is the internet shutting down? Is my live stream totally jacked up? Also on Locals, smashomash.locals.com. Go check it out. There's some interesting communities over there. We just joined Bridget Fettisy's community. So check it out. There's all kinds of emerging information happening over there. It's Dave Rubin's site. locals.com. And I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. I think my computer's getting cosmic ray flux today, folks. Anyway, there's Bridget Fettesy's thing. Here's the profile. Comedian Bridget Fettesy. And I'm also on Instagram. Here's how I dressed yesterday at the end of my day at work. The boss said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, it's just my favorite pants." A full hazmat suit. "Do you think it's too much PPE? Please leave a comment. We also featured our chicken fuggets. Part finger, part nugget. Chicken fuggets with Romano cheese. Deadly storm struck Bangladesh. 22 killed as super cyclone, which would be like a Category 5 hurricane, has killed at least 22. I'm sure probably more than that. Millions left without power. And here's some of the scenes of destruction in Bangladesh. Please keep those folks in your prayers. Here's the weather.gov map, and we see, check this out, frost warnings in about 1/3 of Pennsylvania issued on May 21st. Frost warnings in Pennsylvania. Yeah, for real. Freeze warnings in Montana. But hey, that's the Rocky Mountains, folks. And check out all the flood warnings. They've gotten bigger since yesterday. Let's go to windy.com and look at the pressure cells. Here's the GFS forecast. We're going to let it go about 24 hours into the future. Windy.com. They've also got a great mobile app, which you may want to check out. Here's where things will be. Here's where things will be around 12 noon tomorrow, at least according to the GFS forecast. And just giving you an idea of precipitation totals here. We're on Tropical Tidbits looking at the total accumulation of precipitation. And here's where things will be at 12 o'clock Universal Time on Sunday. Looks like there's going to be a pretty wet state here in Pennsylvania, unfortunately, as we're trying to make plans for that day. So there's where things will be at 0 hour on Monday Universal Time. And that is the GFS forecast as well, I believe, here at Tropical Tidbits. Next, looking at the jet streams. There is the eastern world. Extreme meridional jet stream flow is now the norm. Here's the western world's jet streams. And talk about all over the place. And this kind of situation right here, that is the kind of situation that's going to cause news stories to come out saying, OMG, OMG, Greenland is melting, Greenland is melting. The planet is so hot that we've received 3 winters, 2 standard deviations above normal snowfall. It's so hot that it's cold, folks. That's what certain organizations would like for you to believe. Do you believe it? Next, looking at water vapor maps of Europe and Africa. There are those. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. There are those. And here I goes. Next, lightningmaps.org. Where is the lightning striking? It looks like some strike in North Carolina. Hey, Wilmington. Let us know if Dawson's hanging out at his creek. There's thunder rolling in. And those expanding circles are indeed the anticipated thunderclap. Impress your friends, frighten your foes by forecasting thunder at lightningmaps.org. Next, at Weather Underground, looking at the U.S. Doppler radar map. Some fairly strong storms, which are short-lived there, happening in Texas. Some snow in the northern Rockies. And some heavy rain striking in the southeast. Here's what's going on in the cloud layer. Let me blow that up. And by the way, when we look at the cloud layer at nighttime, we use the NASA GOES shortwave radiation satellite. It's all part of the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. Here's the water vapor map for the US. And we see a big artifact happening here. You see this little artifact there? It looks like a cosmic ray. Has probably messed up the data there, as there's some weird compression thing happening, and that's not real. Bit of an atmospheric river forming here in this area. And let's zoom in on that area over Texas, as we saw strong storms. And we want to show our viewers what is likely to happen next by showing them what the water's doing. Because although the water doesn't really control the atmosphere, it gives us insights. So you can see this is an upper level low pressure system here, and you can see it's at a higher altitude than this dry air. So you're getting a massive pressure and temperature inversion in that area. If you flew a plane like this, you would experience turbulence, and it would be a bumpy ride, folks, as dry air is more massive and requires lower air speeds than moist air. And we're going to look at cosmic rays real quick. Here's the opacity neutron monitor. Slight uptick in the past 30 days there. Barentsburg, pretty flat on the past 30 days at Barentsburg. Athens, Greece is next. The Athens neutron monitor back online, and for that we thank you, showing us a pretty flat set of readings for the past 30. Mexico City, slight uptick there at Mexico City as well. And lastly, we'll look at Oulu and DOMC Antarctica. There's Oulu, Finland. Tiny uptick at Oulu and DOMC. Tiny uptick at DOMC. And if you want to watch it yourself, just search for Network of Cosmic Ray Stations. You'll find this Russian site, and I like it. Not as much as I like our patrons, though. So thanks to patrons for being assistant and associate producers. Every little bit counts, and we have a tier for $1 as well as a tier for $9.99 per month, our gold tier. So please pick a tier and help to fund the channel on Patreon and increase the possibility that these videos may continue to come out for free on YouTube. We're also on Subscribestar and PayPal, so again, if you are willing and able and ready to support us, please do, as we've got a lot to do and we need a lot more funding to do it. So thanks, Smash Team, if you've shared, if you've left comments. Please share the videos on your social media. Are you an influencer? Give us a ring. We'd be more than happy to interview you. Become part of the Smash Team, and thanks for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the cabin at all times. And don't find yourself decapitated. Next, looking at the intensitygram to show you 0 sunspots. Colorized magnetogram to show you a perfect example of cycle 25 behavior, as we have a 25 plage up here and a 25 plage down here, and a little tiny cycle 24 plage right there, a little baby bright spot. A perfect allegory here, a perfect symbolic representation of how we are well into cycle 25, and for that we thank you. Last but not least, let's look at the 131 angstroms 48-hour video from the SDO and get out of here, as I've got another video to make today. The latest edition of the Diamond Anvil, Too Hard to Smash. Let's check the chat. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun. Attempt to understand the physics. Don't drink. Or, if you do drink, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the covidiocy absent from your galaxy.